Hi everyone, Chris again. Today is December 5th and this is video 9. So today I'd like to talk to you about the government's pursuit of journalists that are speaking out about corruption. In particular, I would like to talk about the political assassinations of Jamal Khashoggi, Marielle Franco, and Yasser Murtagh. So, if you're not familiar with any of these individuals, Jamal Khashoggi was a reporter at the Washington Post who was assassinated in Istanbul. Now, prior to his assassination, they had tried to lure him back into Saudi Arabia, likely so they could assassinate him there. Marielle Franco, a young woman, 38 years old, with a bright future. She was a human rights advocate from Brazil, as well as a politician. She was assassinated, only 38 years old, man, same age as me. So she was 1 year younger than Martin Luther King and Malcolm X at the time of their assassination. So, you know, this is a woman that had her whole life in front of her and had it taken away to silence her. And this is becoming a global human rights crisis. Another journalist, Yasser Murtagh, if you're not familiar with his case, Yasser was reporting on the Gaza Strip and the events that were unfolding there. Yasser was shot by Israeli soldiers and killed. Now, this is despite wearing a big blue vest that says press. So again, he was assassinated to silence him. So this is this pursuit of journalists for doing their job is unconstitutional for sure. Journalists provide a very valuable service to society, and it's important that we have people to report on these issues without a fear of, thuggish intimidation and harassment. But unfortunately, the world we live in today is that journalists are harassed, and they are assassinated. And the people that order these types of assassinations are operating with impunity. These people are above the law, right? So, if you're not familiar with any of those cases, I would encourage you to read up on them. But we need to protect our journalists. We need people to report on things like corruption to protect the public. And when these people can't report on that for censorship or threats of persecution, then that is a major threat to public safety. Another reporter, just going back to Murtagh for a minute, he also had underwent a smear campaign. So not only they killed him, but they smear them as well. So the smear is part of psychological operations to sway public opinion on an individual, and they do it to journalists as well. They do it to entire nations. So another example of how they use psychological operations on journalists is Amy Goodman. She's an award-winning journalist with Democracy Now! And she was had criminal charges fabricated against her. These were fabricated because of her reporting in North Dakota on violence against protesters. If you haven't seen the video, the protesters there were being pepper sprayed, and basically they were having dogs bite the protesters. So she reported. She was reporting on that, and she ended up getting arrested. Another individual is Manuel Duran, a young Latino man, journalist who was reporting on a protest when they turned on him and came after him. And you'll see in that video as well. The officer says, "Get him, guys." It's like some of these people are absolute thugs. Thugs. It's not all police. So there's lots of good police out there. So, and lots of good military and all that. And, I must speak in generalities, but you watch the video, man. Like they come after him. People are trying to protect him. They're saying he's a reporter. He's just doing his job. But it doesn't matter. And not only did they arrest him, but they're threatening to deport the guy. So, that's the challenge that journalists face today. So, I think that people, the public, need to start becoming aware of that, and also speaking out about it. Right? Like, we know there's. In my book, you see that there's dozens of news agencies that are filing complaints because they're receiving national security letters and are not allowed to report on certain topics. So it's critical that we allow them to do their job because they do provide a valuable service, and they do protect the public, in that they have to hold these people to account. To allow these people to operate with impunity and just assassinate whoever they want without consequence is a very dangerous road that we're headed down. We're already there. So we're in the middle of this global human rights crisis right now, and it's, there's not a whole lot being done about it. So it's time for everybody to start speaking up about it and find out why these secret records are being held on people in Canada, like the RCMP files, like from the former Public Safety Minister Jennifer Stoddart. In her report, she said RCMP are keeping secret files on people. And they're denying FOIA requests, like you see in my book, that they denied me my request for Freedom of Information Act, and CSIS did the same thing. They said it was a national security issue for a med student volunteer to ask why they're harassing me. In any event, anyways, I think that it's time for us to, as a society, to kind of come together and recognize that the persecution of journalists is a threat not just to the journalists but to the public as well, because it keeps us in the dark about corruption and about some of these issues. So let's use our voices and start talking about this before any other journalists end up losing their life. But just going back to Khashoggi and his assassination in Istanbul, I said earlier that they had tried to lure him back into Saudi Arabia to take him out there. These people do not play by the rules. Like, they don't follow the same laws that you and I do. They work under national security laws, which they have no laws. And it's not above them to try to manipulate someone into doing something like that. And from my own personal experience, that's what they've been trying to do with me. You may know I've been diagnosed multiple times with PTSD. but I can't open a claim in Canada because they're obstructing me from contacting the physicians. So, I'm faced with this thing of returning to Canada and being unlawfully incarcerated or assassinated or starving to death in a foreign country. So neither option's great. So they're trying to pressure me into coming back. So in any event, the point of the story is that these people, they lack ethical values, and they're only concerned with the end results. If they want someone locked up or killed, they'll do whatever it takes. So the video's getting kind of long, so I'm going to end it here. Just a shout out to all the journalists that are still reporting on issues of corruption, that are facing harassment for reporting honestly and courageously on those issues. So I hope that you continue to do so, and any journalists that have kind of veered off the path of honesty, I would encourage you to reflect on why you started journalism in the first place, to report news to the public unbiasedly. So in any event, video's long, I'm going to shut it down. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.